So what's the catch? After all, that is the point of this video. Well, there's no easy way to say this, but sup it's Or, welcome back to my channel, and if you like content like this, make sure to like this video to let me know. Subscribe because I would greatly appreciate it. It will help me grow my channel a lot, and you won't miss out on future videos like this, so click that bell icon as well. And without further ado, let's jump right in. So before we get into discussing Nilou's kit, let's first review it so we're all on the same page. Nilou is a Hydro Sword unit that specializes in the bloom reaction due to her first Ascension passive that we'll talk about in just a moment. Her elemental skill, Dance of Hafskarvar, sorry if I mispronounced that, has two versions depending on how you end the skill. You press it a total of 4 times, once to activate it and activate her pirouette stance, and then another 3 times to modify how she plays in the team. Once she enters pirouette stance, you can use 3 more skill casts to activate whirling steps, or use 3 normal attacks to activate sword dance. Her sword dance combo will unleash a luminous illusion that does hydro damage and grants her the lunar prayer effect. This effect turns Nilou's normal attacks into sword dance techniques that does 3 slashes of hydro damage, and the third final slash, called luminous illusion, moves forward quite a distance for better reach and hydro application. Another thing to keep in mind is that her sword dance combo and her luminous illusion all count as elemental skill damage, not normal attack damage. So bringing normal attack buffers like Yunjin or Candace won't help improve her damage. Her whirling steps combo will unleash a whirling water wheel that does AoE hydro damage and creates the tranquility aura around the active character. This wheel will persist even if Nilou isn't on the field and will apply wet to opponents within its radius. This aura is preferable if you plan to use Nilou as an off-field hydro applicator and enabler. The damage done by her whirling water wheel combo scales off of her max HP as well. Her tranquility aura, however, only applies wet and does no damage. Her elemental burst, Dance of Abzendegi, again, sorry if I mispronounced that, creates a lotus of distant waters that blooms, dealing hydro damage and a huge AoE, and marks opponents hit by it with the lingering Eon effect. After a few seconds, the effect will explode, dealing hydro damage to marked opponents that scales off of Nilou's max HP. This move is simply meant for damage and hydro application as it has no supportive utility. Now her passive is where things get interesting. Nilou is the first of her kind in that she can actually modify the bloom reaction. Her Court of Dancing Petals passive will grant all members of the team the Golden Chalice bounty effect for 30 seconds, as long as she meets 2 conditions. These being that she completes the final dance step of her skill, be it her Tranquility Aura or her Luminous Illusion, and also that your entire team is comprised only of Hydro and Dendro units. This Golden Chalice bounty effect, once granted, will convert Dendro cores into Bountiful cores that explode much faster and a larger AoE, but cannot trigger Hyper Bloom or Burgeon. This effect will also increase all party members' elemental mastery by 100 when they take Dendro damage. This buff should always be in effect since the explosion dealt by Bountiful cores also damages the active character caught in the radius, albeit only by a small percentage of the damage dealt to the enemies. If at any point in time the team does not meet the Hydro Dendro only requirement, the Golden Chalice bounty buff will instantly be cancelled. Her second Ascension passive, Dreamy Dance of Eons, will increase the damage dealt by Bountiful cores by 9% for every 1,000 points of HP Nilou has above 30,000. This damage increase is capped at 400%, meaning that to get the maximum damage bonus from this passive, Nilou would have to have around 74,000 HP. This skill is great since Nilou already scales off of max HP entirely, and now you'll be rewarded with extra damage for stacking as much HP on her as possible. So what's the catch? After all, that is the point of this video. Well, there's no easy way to say this, but Nilou's passive that limits your entire team to Hydro and Dendro for the Bountiful cores to even be created heavily limits the team's potential. Not only is our Dendro roster very small despite Nahida being on the way in the next patch, the inability to bring an Animo unit for crowd control means that in Abyss floors where enemies are very scattered out, you'll have to chase them down yourself. The main issue with this is that again, at this point in time, we only have 3 Dendro units, Tighnari, Dendro Traveler, and Kole. Of these three, Tainari applies the most Dendro, but has to be on field to do it, and he is a 5-star, meaning that not everyone has him. This leaves us with Dendro Traveler and Kole, who are both off-field Dendro applicators with their bursts, but you'll need both of them to be on the team to apply enough Dendro to create enough bountiful cores. This only leaves one other team slot, but it has to be a Hydro unit, preferably a healer like Kokomi or Barbara, or perhaps a pseudo-healer like Sing Cho. While some of the aforementioned units have large AoEs, it doesn't take away from the fact that you have to spam bursts and skills over and over on one side of the floor, and then possibly another, depending on how far opponents spawn away from you, and how far they spawn away from one another. The inability to bring a crowd-controlling Animo unit like Venti, Kazuha, or Sucrose just prevents you from grouping everything up, pulling in all the bountiful cores in one nice area, and blooming everything down. By virtue of not being allowed to group everything up, your damage output heavily determines your clear time, and while this is nothing new, other teams can group enemies together to help set up reactions and combos, and overall speed up the process. But Nilou doesn't have access to this, not if you plan to use her bountiful cores. You can slot Nilou into Freeze, Electrocharged, and Vape teams, or just play her in normal Bloom, Burgeon, and Hyper Bloom teams, but the issue is that she's wasted potential at that point. These teams all existed before her arrival and can function just fine, if not even better, without her. She's still an amazing unit though, and if you really like Bloom and plan to play it, she's literally the best option in the game for it, undisputed. There are just caveats to be aware of and limitations placed on her and her team building strategies that you'll have to keep in mind. Perhaps in the future, as more Hydro and Dendro units are released, we'll see massive buffs to her team. I, for one, am fully convinced that Nahida is going to take Nilou's team to the next level. But yeah, that concludes this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below anything you would like. The comment section is yours. As always, follow me on all my social media. The link tree will be down in the description down below. And I will see you all in the next video.